Welcome everybody to today's live. We got a really um, good opportunity for you to watch and see exactly what it goes into picking the market and expanding the market. We did get a few responses from you guys in your email. I know a lot of you guys probably at work right now, but I definitely want to make sure that we come into 2023 with tremendous value. So let me go and see who filled out the form really quickly just to see who do we want. So far we got Indiana, North Carolina, and Florida, and we got Texas. So if this is your first time watching my YouTube, you're in for a treat because we're giving you really quality content today. If you can do me a favor and just drop in the comments where you're watching from and what you hope to gain, let me know. Like I said, we're going to be showing you guys how to pick your virtual markets, how to set everything up, and all of the back end stuff that you need in order to launch a virtual market. That way, you're marketing places that everybody will be buying deals at versus you in a no man's land and no one's buying deals there. So uh, let me go ahead and put some comments in the chat. So, like I said, today's live is dedicated towards just finding the best market. So I think I'm gonna go with Indiana because I never actually done Indiana before. So it's literally you can see that it really works because I never even looked into Indiana, honestly. So we're going to choose Indiana today, and then that person who sent in the request for Indiana, whatever leads that we pull up via Propstream, we'll send them over to you free of charge. So, like I said, where you watching from, do me a favor, drop where you're watching from. Just going to wait about 30 more seconds to let a few more people on. Today is Wednesday, the 28th. We got about 4 days, 3, 4 days left for the new year come. So I definitely want to make sure that we provide as much value for you guys as possible. If you're going into the new year without setting up a new market, without having your CRM, without having your virtual assistants, without having the right script, you're definitely going to start off on a bad note. So definitely reach out to us to figure out what we can do to help you, especially if you haven't hired a virtual assistant. If you just want everything set up from start to finish, reach out to us and we can help you with that as well. But you can't go into the new year with the same old energy that you had for the last 2, 3 months because clearly you will see results if you just switch the energy. So like I said, the first thing we want to do is let me load up Google really quickly and Indiana. We're going to go into Indiana. We're going to open up Indiana. If I was to start the virtual wholesale to Indiana, this is exactly what I would do. I'm going to show you my essential list that I will pull. I want to show you the different small cities and why I won't go to the big cities and everything. So let me share my screen. Share screen. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to share this. But I'm going to have to keep going back and forth. So you see that you on Google.com, guys. Google.com will literally be your best friend. So Google.com, you're going to go in there and then you're just going to type in, let me see. So you're going to type in cities in Indiana by population, right? So what I like to do is I like to break down what is my top 3 biggest cities. One has been Indianapolis. I'm gonna write that down. So Indianapolis, Indiana is my top biggest cities, Indianapolis. Then my second one is Fort Wayne. And then my third one is Evansville. So 876, 267, and then 117. So what we like to do is we like to focus on cities in Indiana between, I say 30,000 and 100,000 population. So as you look, you just want to look at these cities that's Michigan City. I don't know this word, Valparaiso. I don't know how to spell it. Plainville. What else? So you have all of these: Jeffersonville, West Lafayette. So we'll try out, just for simplicity, Jeffersonville. And what we want to do is we want to see the distance between Jeffersonville and Indianapolis. So Indianapolis to Jeffersonville. And when you look that up, guys, it's going to literally tell you on the maps how long a route it is. So like I said, we want to make sure that we are focusing on cities that's no more than 45 minutes outside of the major city. So this is an hour and 45 minutes, right? My second biggest city was Fort Wayne and Evansville. So let's double check and make sure that that Fort Wayne isn't as close either, because we don't want to write this town off if it's a 45-minute drive within Fort Wayne. 3 hours and 37 minutes. And then my last and final city is Evansville, right? Let's see how far that is. Hour and 56 minutes. So clearly, all of the major cities is within an hour, 2 hour drive. So Jeffersonville would definitely not be on my list to pick as a virtual city, because like I said, I want to be within a 45-minute drive of the three major cities. So let's try Gary, Indiana. I heard people always talking about that. So Annapolis to Gary, Indiana. And we just want to get an idea how far it is. Another 2 hour and 20 minute drive. And this can be a little tedious, but like I said, take your time. Do this on your, during your off days or time when you have to spend an hour or two just doing market research, and then save you a ton of money in skip tracing and wasting money in places, putting your money in places you shouldn't even be putting your money in. Because I know some people 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, then let's try Evansville one more time. And I know some people probably like, yo, why are you doing this? Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are close enough where you can attract these big investors. See, look, 4 hours and yeah, so 4 hours and 49 minutes. So Indiana has kind of been a little tough cookie for me this morning. So Evansville, actually no, it's supposed to be in Gary. My apologies. Annapolis to, yeah, did we already check Gary? I just want to make sure I ain't missing something. Yeah, 2 hours. Then Wayne. Just want to double check and make sure I ain't mess up. You know how some of y'all be. Yeah. Oh yeah, I did it right there. Okay. So let's go back. So we picked Gary. What about fishes? So okay, I think we got some. Boom. Here we go. See? So now this is a 26-minute drive on via I-465 North. It's like a major interstate that cuts through the downtown Indianapolis area up to Fishers. So let's Google Fishers real quick. Fisher Indianapolis, and just see what we come up with. So Fishers is a city of Fall Creek, Delaware Township. Boom, boom, boom. Population 100,000. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this looks like a place that I want to kind of like go ahead and start. I'm going to open up Propstream really quickly just to kind of show you some ways that I will pull and stack the listing to get an idea of what's going on. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop your questions. And if you have any questions about what I'm doing, I'm currently pulling up pulling a market, Indiana. We found Fishers, Indiana, and we're going to start to build our list and stack that up really quickly inside of Propstream. So let me I'm using this screen, so I want to move over to my next screen. It's a long link. Jesus Christ. That should be good. If you don't have Propstream, click the link below to sign up for a free 7-day trial. This is what we use to kind of like get a feel for what's what and what's going on, what the markets that we're trying to virtually pull. So sometimes Propstream does move a little slow, not like slow to the point that it ignores you. Fishers, Indiana. So the first thing you want to do is when you go to Propstream, you just want to get an idea of what's what. So we found 23,808 high equity potential properties, 2,000 cash buyers, 24 pre-foreclosures, and I don't know why I got that many foreclosures. Maybe that's a discrepancy. Is Indiana a non-disclosure state? I don't know right off the top of my head. So let me Google that real quick just to ask. Maybe you guys in the comments can help me out. Is Indiana a non-disclosure state? Yeah, I don't see Indiana on that list. Nope. I don't see it on there. So that being said, it's not a non-disclosure state. So that information should be correct. So the first thing I like to do when I open up a virtual market is to start to pull up a few basic lists, some what we call our essential list. And the easiest thing to do is just go to filters, and then you want to kind of like get an idea. So I probably just want to focus on single family houses, the property characteristics. So you can just go to property characteristics and just click residential. Now, if you're doing like commercial real estate, that's fine too. But for most of us, we're going to be focusing on residential. I'm not going to really care about the bedrooms and the baths, uh, so much. But I definitely just want to kind of get an idea. Also, then you want to ask, what is the medium home price in Indiana, right? What's the medium home price in Indiana? What's the medium home price in Fisher, Indiana? So the median home price is around 380,000. So I just want to make sure that my house is not worth no more than 400,000. Why would we do this? Because it's going to save us money and time, right? You don't want to be talking to people that own $800,000, $900,000 houses when that's not really the flipping market or the home buying market. So you want to kind of like stay within that threshold. So residential, single family, then you just go back up. You exit out of property characteristics, uh, valuation and equity, and then you just want to kind of go down. I don't know why my Propstream does this. Hold on, let me zoom out just a tad bit. I'm not on my computer at work. There we go. That's a whole lot better. So you just want to make sure that your estimate value, I don't care about the minimum, but the max is no more than 400,000. And that takes that list down to 12,000 properties. And you honestly, you can keep it like this, and then you can kind of add like your quick list. So maybe you just want to focus on how equity starting off. I always encourage people to pull your first initial list as your high equity list. I wouldn't even, and then you can kind of sauce it up just a little bit. You can say years of ownership. I only want to talk to people who own their house at least 5 years or better. And then it cuts that list literally in half to 6,000 people right there. So that's one of our core lists. And so if you can see this, high equity, residential, single families, 5 years or more, and then what does that median home price look like? So this increase the estimated value a little slightly more than a median home price. And you can literally take this list right here, and this is what we call like your general list, where your team will be cold calling, your team will be texting it, they will be consistently, rigorously following up with this list. Let me download this list real quick. Add to list. Okay. So boom, new marketing list. So Fisher, Indiana, high equity, boom. Okay, that's safe. Now let's get into some juicy stuff. Let me double check and make sure. Who sent something? Single family home not listed, individually owned, 6% equity, minimum seven. Yeah, I mean you can do all of that, but like I said, when it comes to cold calling and marketing, you want to create the broadest list you can, because certain things you're not going to catch by over filtering, right? Then when you want to create your niche list, you can add that 60% minimum equity. But remember, I went straight into the high equity filter. In order to be considered high equity, you have to have at least 40% equity, right? So and then the ownership is discrepancy too. So 5 years to me is really good. 7 years, it's a discrepancy, but like I said, 5 years, and you want to get as many people as possible on that list because you don't know what some of these people may have bought a second house over the years. Some people may have a cousin, a friend. We just want to build a big enough list where our cold callers can consistently cold call every single day, right? And that they're talking to your ideal prospect. So, that's one of the things I want to kind of point out to you guys. Now, let's go back and look at these niche lists that you can build and blend with this. So we got all of that information. Now let's focus on your second list that you want to kind of build up. You want to focus on maybe failed listings. I like failed listings because these people tried to sell a house, but for some reason couldn't sell a house. So you can just download this. It's only 1,400 people. I don't like to add too many filters to things because, like I said, I want to talk to as many people as possible, especially going into a new market. I don't want to be so laser focused that I'm literally throwing deals away because I don't even know if it's a deal or not because I haven't talked to them. So going to a new market, talking to as many people as possible is the best winning formula because you can get a feel and an understanding of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like what's going on with this market? Are people open to creative financing? Are people just wanting a cash offer? Do they want to do a rent back? Like they sell a house and then, rent it from us for 3-4 months until they move on. Like there's so many reasons why you want to kind of create these different lists. So failed listing is your second list where you get a lot of motivated people. Now, I caution you about the failed listing because you have to understand that most of the people on the failed listing list are very unrealistic and they're out of touch of what the market is currently trading for. So you have to be really good at your sales skills to educate them and explain what your job is and how you can help them, sell a property or buy their property from them, whatever the case may be. So I would download this. I still keep this on. And I would call this my failed listening list. Add to my list. Create. And then you just make sure that you label it, that you remember and understand. So ID failed listen, right? And that's my second list that I would build. Like I said, there's only 400 people on there, but I definitely would give it to my best cold caller. I would give it to my best person that's very, very detail oriented, patient with people, and doesn't come off robotic, and that really takes their time. So they may probably take a couple of hours just to call them 400 people because majority of the people on that failed listing list are motivated and they're going to pick up the phone and engage in a conversation with you, right? So after the failed listing list, then I start getting a whole lot creative. I want to go after potential landlords or potential people who own multiple properties. So you go back to the filter, and then you can change this out really quickly. You can go to senior owners. Um, you can go to tile landlords. I like the tile landlords just because the Midwest is majority like landlord driven people who buy properties and rent them out. So I would hit the tile landlords really quickly. And then one of the things I would do is I would go back to ownership and then I would say, okay, I want them to have at least minimum 5 properties, right? And then this may knock the whole list out, right? So, okay, no, there's 97 people still on that list. So this is a true bona fide tile landlord list where you know for a fact that they own at least 5 properties, right? So I would download this. And like I said, these are not going to be monster crazy lists. So you definitely want to work on your plan. Create 3 to 5 phone numbers per city that you're calling. Like this is Fisher, Indianapolis. So figure out what zip codes are area codes that's in there, and then create 3 to 5 phone numbers so you can rotate your phone numbers when it comes to cold call. And then I will call this Fisher's once I do that, like I said, I'm keeping it very lean and simple as we open up a new market. And then maybe 30 days from now, 60 days from now, once I get enough data and information back from the callers and the quality of the calls, then I make a decision to really like play with the list. But these three lists is good. You can also go back to filter and you can take out the tile landlords. Um, you can focus on pre-probates, like deceased owners. But the one thing about the pre-probates, you have to have a team in place. You have to have a good title company. You have to have a good probate attorney that won't stab you in the back and then try to sell a deal to someone they may know for more money. Like, we have to have a real bona fide team in place if we want to work these pre-probate deals. Understand minimum it's going to take you between 3 to 9 months to get these deals across the finish line. There may be multiple heirs involved, which means that if someone grandma died and they had 4 children, and then 2 of the children died and they had 8 children apiece, guess what? You need 8 signatures for these heirs. So you have to have the patience and the understanding how to really work these. So I tell people, everybody probate. They don't understand that there's a lot to go into a probate deal, and that's why most probate deals, from a wholesaling perspective, won't make it across the finish line because they don't have the tools and the resources needed to close these deals. So another easy low-hanging fruit is divorce. Just because most of the time they have to split the assets, and then you can, even these quick lists, you don't even have to use the quick list. You can kind of like reset everything. Boom. If I reset everything, it goes back to 33,000 property. If we want to build another solid list, you go back, residential. You can kind of add the year built. So let's say, for example, you want to focus from 1985 to 1999. Here we go. And still 12, almost 11,000 properties, a good percentage of properties. Like I said, I like to keep the bedrooms and bathrooms. Like, I don't really worry about that just because sometimes that information isn't as accurate. And then you can come in here, property type, single family. And then I get down in here and start to, really build up my list. So whether it's pre-foreclosure, ownership information, like I said, there's so much you can do. So this one I might do at least 8 years, and then I might say, okay, I only want to focus on individuals, right? Because from a skip tracing standpoint, you get a better hit rate when you just got individuals instead of LLCs. And then maybe I just want to focus on people that's out of state, right? So I only want to focus on owners who's out of state or out of country. So out of state meaning that their tax mailing address is in a whole nother state, right? So this is a real small list that you can call yourself. Remember, these small lists are golden. It's not a lot of people, so stay consistent. The outer, the local is just some people that has multiple properties that live locally. So, but if you don't want that filter in there, that's perfectly fine. But one of the other things you can do after you take away the ownership is you can put the mortgage information, how many different mortgages that you want them to have, the different loan types. So maybe you just want to deal with people who has like VA loans for whatever reason, or FHA, or conventional, or credit line. So there's so many ways you can stack these different lists. But honestly, like I said, the simple, the better. I like to dive deeper into the lean list. So I like to focus on different types of liens. So I like that child support. I don't know if Indiana may have that data. No, they don't. But then the next best thing I like to focus on is some type of tax lien. That's a really dope list too. So I would focus on this list and download this and start with that. I wouldn't overcomplicate and start with 10, 15 lists, because remember when we pulled out 8,000 high equity lists, majority of all leads back to high equity. So even if you're pulling a pre-probate or foreclosure, if it has equity in it, it's still going to show up on the high equity list. So let's download this really quickly. Tax lien list. So you have 3 solid lists: tile landlords, tax liens, high equity. and we go from there. So let me add these really quickly. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm not responding back to your comments. I'm actually in the Propstream tab, so I can't see it. So I'm gonna. We save it as that. So, so that's the basic things that you can do is literally have these core lists. Remember, we have title landlords who own 5 or more properties. We have tax lien people who own a house at least 8 years. You know what I mean? We have your general high equity list, where majority of your list is going to show up on the high equity. So I want to move into Q&A really quickly. I'm going to send them off to someone, but like I said, I want to talk to you really quickly about initiating these lists. Yes, we pull the utility lien list for certain states. Certain states don't provide that information or data, so you just got to do your research. And as applicable, then use it. But let me tell you something: if you can't get that list in Propstream, you can always go down to the city and ask for their condemned list, their utility lien list, or any list that they're willing to give you of homeowners that's in some type of distress. Say, hey, what list that you have that you collect of homeowners, can I have it? Whatever list that is, then you upload that into your list automated and say, okay, out of all these people that's on the blatant or brighted list, like the list of houses that just won't cut their grass or won't, fix the repairs, show me the ones with equity that owns at least 5 years. And then Prosper and say, okay, and isolate them people, and then you can download that. So the biggest thing I want to tell you guys is some of your list is from third outside party sources outside of Prostrate that you can bring back into, and then you can pull information by stacking it. So that's really good. So I'm just going backwards reading. Someone said, how much? Let me put these questions up really quickly. Hold on, let me take this screen away because I'm done with that. How much are your VAs and how? Hold on. How much are your VAs and how do you keep them on calls? Do I manage that or can I get a manager for them? Yes. Okay. So our VAs are $4 an hour starting out. You could. I always tell people if you want to manage VAs, then you want to grow within. So you want to get a VA, work with them, see what their skills looking like, see what their critical thinking skills, their hard skills, their soft skills, and then you promote within. That's the easiest way to nurture and create a lead manager. Outside of that, we have a program that we used to run called Lead Factory that we're bringing back. We have 2 people already signed up for it. We only have enough room for 5 people starting off for the first quarter, just so we can make sure that they get the undervalued attention they need. It's about a $1,900 a month commitment, and we do all of the cold calling for you. And then we do some text message marketing as well in combination, but majority cold calling. So when you break it down, literally you'll probably be spending like $1,400-1,500. So for extra couple of $100, you can have somebody to manage your team, to do the reports, to build up the cold callers, and to just send you leads every day. So if you're interested in something like that, reach out to us. Robin said, I cold call myself. That's why I'm a little more, she filter a little more. Oh, yeah, that's perfectly fine. If you cold calling yourself, you should filter a lot more. If you're saying today, I filter and stacked and cut lists from 12,000 down to 8,000, 6,000. Some lists dropped all the way down to 300-400 people. So you definitely want to be very intentional about certain lists, especially if you're doing the work yourself. But if you can make time to pay someone $4 an hour, I definitely will broaden up my list a little better and then just have a cold callers call them, because you'll get a lot more people to talk to. And if you're good at sales and you know what to ask the right questions, then you can get way more deals on the contract that way. Do you recommend Podio to keep? Yes, if you have a Podio set up and then the Globee flow is already built out, that's what we started off with Podio. Then we eventually moved over to our own stuff. So It's nothing wrong with Podio, but I only recommend you guys putting Podio, uh, warm and hot leads inside of Podio. I see a lot of people make this mistake of putting all their leads in Podio, thinking that the VA is supposed to work out of Podio. That's not true. You're supposed to have all of your list put in some type of Google Drive, and then your lead manager yourself will pull out the list and then upload it into the dollar for the VAs to call that day. And then there'll be a sign, should be a schedule saying, hey, today you're calling high equity Fisher, Indiana, high equity list. Tomorrow you're calling Fisher, Indiana, Thai landlord list, and vice versa. So that's exactly how you should be doing it. How do you pull the utility disconnect list? Literally, you can pull in Propstream, but it's not for every single area or state. So just go in there and just go to just go to list, and then when you hit the list and you go down to liens and stuff, you drop the tab down and you click on the liens tab, and you'll see it right there. Yeah, so somebody do I pull utility liens? Yes, we pull utility liens for the whatever states we're working as long as the information is available to us. Now, like I said, Propstream is an aggregator of data, so whatever they can get their hands on data, they buy it. But most of the times they can't. So you're going to see some of the lists. It's not as accurate as the other lists. But rest assured, if you stick with just your high equity list and you have a bunch of callers calling and you refresh it every quarter, you'll see results. I think the biggest thing about most people when they're setting up their new markets and they cold calling is they're not willing to test what works. So you want to make sure that you're testing the time of the day that you're calling, the different numbers, the variations of how you call in the different lists, and you just want to mix it up. So, example, I might call high equity list at 9 a.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, and if this list is not working for me Mondays and Wednesdays, I might switch it around to Tuesdays and Thursdays to 2 p.m. So you got to be willing to test and monitor the data to see what's working and then double down on whatever is working. So that's the biggest thing that I can tell you guys is to really look at your data to see what's working so that you can get more leads and more interested prospects on the phone. And lastly, work with your VAs, guys. If you're not constantly meeting with your VAs 2 to 3 times a week for an hour each, training them, practicing with them, they're not going to get better. Anybody can hire an employee off the street, but the employee development side of business is the most important thing that you should be focusing on right now. Because at the end of the day, imagine someone hire you at a job and threw you in a position and say, okay, figure it out. And don't give you no more further training, no more SOPs, nothing. They just say, well, you was hired already trained. You should know what you're doing. Figure it out. So that's what a lot of you guys are doing, and it's hurting the VAs because at the end of the day, yeah, they've been trained and they worked and they got experience, but they don't have experience working directly for you and your company and what you expect, your style of management, all of that stuff. So make sure that you set expectations with yourself and your team that, hey, if your goal is to produce, 10 leads a week per VA, then how could they get to that? How could you set the expectations? Make sure that, you're pulling quality data from the best sources. Make sure that you're constantly monitoring them and you're routinely listening to their phone calls to provide constructive criticism. I think, people just want to set it and forget it. And that's not how business works. You have to have someone constantly monitoring the business day in and day out. So that's what I recommend for you guys. Do we have any other questions? We here, and like I said, if you're looking for a virtual assistant, if you haven't hired one yet, going into the new year, reach out to us. You should definitely get a VA if you can afford it. If not, if you're just struggling with your business, we have a bunch of trainings and courses we can help you with. Schedule a consultation call with us to figure out how could we help you get to the next level. And get booked on our calendar ASAP. You're not a burden on us. Don't be afraid to, book yourself on the calendar because we're creative too. We'll get on the phone with you and say, this is what you need to do. Even if you're running on a low budget, there's still a creative way you can do this business. It's going to require more work and effort, but, it's still possible. What's up, Frank?
What's up? I'm not supposed to click myself in, but I'm already here.
Oh, yeah, I see you.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching today's live stream. We're gonna have another one tomorrow. We are running we're currently running a series for Anton to go on live, usually at 12 or to 12:15, talking about how you can get started with your real estate wholesaling business, or even trying to establish it for 2023. Right now is if you have sort of like a downtime and trying to figure things out, it is actually the best time. So if you haven't yet, please click on the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're watching from Facebook, follow him, CEO929, and then click the bell notification icon so that you will know when Anton is live. Of course, the replays are up as well. So just make sure that you're subscribed so that you will get that notification. And again, we're running a holiday sale right now. If you guys would go to www.ceo929.com/solutions, or just ceo929.com, you will be able to see all of our specials. We're actually running a special on our lead list. So we have 10,000 for 129, we have 25,000 for 199 and above. And then we are also running a discount on our virtual assistant packages. So definitely watch out for that.
Yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow. Every day we 12 o'clock Monday through Friday we're going live, because we feel like a lot of people need to know these things in order to move forward in their business and to be successful. So remember, if you don't learn anything from today, and when you're looking to open up a new market, you see how that I could have picked another market, but I'm not looked and see how far out it was from the big three areas, the big three cities, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Most investors are not wanting to invest that far away. So I'm an investor myself. So I know, like, if I can keep my stuff within a 45-minute distance or drive, then my contractors were willing to go over there and work them jobs for me. My lenders are willing to, step out, did the areas I'm usually borrowing from, and to go, lend on these deals because it's not that far. So you got to start to think like investors, guys. You don't want to just look like a person that's focusing on just the money side of things. Because if you're not thinking like the investor, they're never going to appreciate and respect you. Give me 1 second, guys.
Well, all right. I think that's it for today. And thank you guys. We'll be seeing you again tomorrow.